Greg, do you play guitar or bass? I have to remember this.
Guitar.
Guitar, hell yeah.
You're listening to the Media Man Dan podcast. Let's rock!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the amazing Media Man Dan podcast. And the only reason this one is a truly amazing episode is because it is a band that I had reached out to and instantly responded with a yes. This is the incredible band from the Inland Empire in SoCal, Sörcery. And the reason I say Sörcery with so much excitement is because Sorcerer Mickey is on my shoulder right now, and that is the thing that started my love for magic and Disney magic specifically. But it's so nice to have an amazing band from the same area as Breaking Serenity, Scarlet Siren, Slanderous with me. So welcome, guys, to the podcast. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thank you for having us on.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're so very welcome. And we have Mel and Greg of the band. So we have the vocalist and the guitarist of the band with us today. They are going to give you the best stories, and we're just going to have a really calm conversation. Every time I have a first-time band on, I just like to keep it as semi-professional as I can, and then I go on tangents nonstop as it goes on. It's so much fun. Well, first question, how are you and how has your summer been?
It's been good. So we're here in the high desert, which is a little north of the Inland Empire, and just been sweltering hot, honestly.
Yeah.
But we've been writing. We're working on a 5-song EP. So still kind of in the mixing stage. Everything's already written. It's all recorded. We're just mixing and getting ready for final production, right?
Yeah, just mixing. Yeah.
That's what's we've really been busying ourselves with that all summer. We had maybe 2 shows over the last month.
Sheesh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the 2 coming up. So, I mean, I'm sure we'll touch on that later, but that's kind of what we've been up to. Been pretty busy.
Yes, and your first EP that you worked on, it took probably a lot of time to make Valley of the Shadow, and it has only 7 tracks, but this thing is a heavy hitter. If you guys have not actually listened to a longer EP in a while, this is probably a great one to go through because you get to the end of it and you just want to restart and boom, it goes right into it. It's so nice. I actually had listened to it twice while I was driving, and I didn't even realize that I was listening to it again because it was just that new and fresh, and it just felt so fun, and I was so focused on the vocals, as I already gave the amazing compliment to Mel here. She sounds so much like Pat Benatar mixed with Gwen Stefani. It's uncanny how I picked it up, and I was like, this is exactly what she needs to hear. You're one of the best vocalists, and you will be growing so much more as your career goes on in music. I'm so excited to see what kind of range you're going to have in the next 10, 20 years and end up in like one of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fames just for like your vocals alone. It's so cool. Your range is amazing. Your high vocals are awesome, and that mid range is just unbelievable.
All the light.
And yeah, I'm always working on it.
And yeah, and with this new EP coming out, it's definitely it's a familiarity, but it's also an enhancement almost on Mel's vocals. She does a lot of different things, and it sounds really badass.
Really had to push myself on this one.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff in this one. So
yeah,
very exciting.
But the biggest question is, can you perform it live? Those hard pushes are definitely a challenge for vocalists.
Oh, yeah, it's something you just got to kind of practice and work yourself up to, because getting it. Well, the thing with recording is that you can go at it 20 times, right? Mm-hmm. And you obviously settle with the one that's the best. Live, you only get that one shot, and a lot of times it's a hit or miss. I've been performing for a long time, so it's all about kind of just working on that agility and just being confident in hitting, especially those higher notes or those longer notes. So, yeah, it's again something I'm really gonna have to work up to, because, and also like just making sure you're hydrated before the show, because when you're tired or when you've had alcohol, it's even harder just getting those difficult notes out there. But yeah.
Is there any way that, like, because like I said, you're an amazing vocalist already, you're going to grow so much, but for people that are like getting into vocals right now, is there a way that you learned over time to activate your vocal cords to hit higher notes than you thought you could actually hit?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in choir. I was in choirs for a really long time during like my teen years and my early adulthood. And I think those practices, I still like use those warm-ups even before shows today. The thing with choir, though, is you tap a lot into your head voice. And like I'm an alto, so even then you're still using your head voice a lot. And it's such a different monster than using your chest voice. So using chest voice was something that I kind of had to learn on my own, and just like a lot of YouTube tutorials or kind of emulating singers that I admire, like Pat Benatar. She's classically trained, so I try to use a lot of those techniques because I've been compared to her so much, so like might as well go with it. I do try to apply everything I learned on the classical end over to the more, rock, grittier end. And yeah, it's all about, learning how to do it without hurting yourself. So once your voice starts getting tired, you obviously need to change your technique around, or, just hydrate more, rest. There's been times where I've had to go on vocal rest, right? Because like my voice is just hoarse, just from talking all day. So yeah, I forgot what the question was. Was it?
Yeah. So you, like you said, you are usually like preparing yourself with some type of training on YouTube. So you learned how to do the chest voice. You used your diaphragm, I'm guessing, after probably a while of using head voice, because we all, we think it's all up here when it's usually in this area down here. Yeah.
And yeah, like for beginners, even like finding their voice. Mel and I used to be in another band together years ago, and it was called Cryptic Moons, and it was more of like a hard rock style. And we recorded that album too, and you could totally hear the difference from that album to this 7-song EP. It's like it was more. It was like she was finding her voice, and I think now she's found it. And so even, we're 30 now. When did we record?
We're like 24. Yeah. You could hear how the maturity, not to toot my own horn, but you could definitely hear the maturity in vocals. I mean, and you could hear that with a lot of singers, just how their albums from the beginning of their career, they sounded so different from the way they currently sound.
Yeah.
And there's just more power, right, as you get older, and as you learn more effective techniques.
Yeah, so it's never too late, Mel really found her voice at, when did we do the Sörcery album? Was that 28?
I was like, we were like 28.
28? Yeah. So tells you right there, 24 to 28. And she's still, we're doing different things. Now we're 30.
Yeah.
And we're doing different things for this next one.
Well, even on this new EP, I feel like I've made so many more progress, right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, we're always improving, and I can't wait to see where I am in 10 years if we keep this up. So, yeah.
Yeah, the evolution of an artist that's already great at the start is one of my favorite things to focus on. I can tell somebody when they start their whole like first sound. It's like, all right, well, there's something there. It's definitely struggling, and in this case it wasn't, but there's most of the time it's like, I hear this, I think you should focus on that. I've told my friend many times before, I'm like, I think you can scream, and he's like, I can't scream. Now he's like only screaming on his stuff. I'm
Right.
like, it's true, man. You just got to have that confidence, and it's there. It's just it's so cool to see people that get excited about their own sound and like how much they've improved. And you guys are definitely focused as a band all together. Who created the name Sörcery, by the way?
Yeah, we were playing a lot of D&D during COVID, the whole shutdown. So that's when we got into it with my sister and brother-in-law. So just, I guess, the word sorcery, it's thrown around a lot because you were a sorcerer, right? You're like a drow sorcerer.
Yeah.
So,
I was a drow sorcerer.
So I just thought it'd be cool, but obviously there's like 30 other bands named Sörcery. So that's why we added the umlaut on the O to kind of trademark it, to not be, a complete copycat.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, so it all started because of D&D. Big question for you guys, since we're probably all in the same age range. Do you guys watch Stranger Things?
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Did you like the way that they infused some D&D into the show?
Right. Yeah, from the beginning, right? When the little kids are playing it all the way up till Eddie Munson. He's like the dungeon master, right? So
yeah.
Oh yeah, we love it. I kind of feel like that's why D&D's gained so much popularity over the last few years, is because of that show.
You see D&D starter sets at Target.
Right. Yeah.
I love that, and I'm happy that it's no longer the craze that it was with the all hell will break loose if these kids play a game. I'm glad that we're in an age where we can realize it is just a game and it is for fun. And speaking of fun, speaking of D&D, did you guys have fun with the movie that came out? Was it last year, 2 years ago? Chris Pine.
Yeah, I think I've seen it 3 times.
I think I've seen it 4 times in the theater. It didn't last very long, but we loved it.
Yeah, it didn't actually do well in the box office, so I don't know if it will ever see a second one, because I think there would have been great opportunity. Like, it is very, very good. I thought it was funny. Adventure was good. Yeah. It would have been really cool because they have the opportunity to not even use the same characters, go a whole different set of characters, different party. They had like infinite opportunity, to like go with any storyline continuum. But fortunately, they didn't do too well in the box office. So
you liked it too?
I enjoyed because I'm a big fan of Chris Pine. Anything he's in, I'm usually like very impressed with his acting. But I really enjoyed the comedy of it.
Okay, Simon, how does this work?
All right. Once the dead man is revived, we can ask him 5 questions, at which point he will die again, never to be re-revived.
Why 5 questions?
I don't know, that's just how it works.
Seems arbitrary.
Can we get on with this, please?
Right, yes. Maybe I'm not saying it right. I wasn't scared, nearly startled.
I was so lost on the fantasy side because I'm like so late to the game. Like, I saw Lord of the Rings for the first time ever last year. I started the entire trilogy of the most famous, fantasy lore of all time. So I'm catching up. I'll have to revisit it though.
Mm-hmm.
You said 4 times though. You're helping. You're contributing to the box office for it.
I tried my best. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But yeah, we loved it. We saw it with like different groups of people. Like I saw with my brother-in-law, who is, he's been DMing forever, and he got everything, and he had to kind of explain to me as we are watching, because we're fairly new. It's been about 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And then we went and saw it like with some friends of ours who are also into D&D. We went and saw it with
from our old band. Actually.
Yeah, from our old band. And then we saw it with like some family that has no idea what D&D is, yet they still enjoyed it. So I honestly, I don't get why it didn't get more traction. It really sucks.
It was really good though.
Yeah.
Do you think it was the release time that they did it? Do you think that's what caused it? Because we were still like sketchy on like when we should go to theaters and all of that. Like,
probably.
It also came out the same like release day as the Mario movie, and so I remember reading online that's why it kind of got...
Oh yes, that's right. The other Chris Pratt taking over.
Yeah.
What are the odds they both have CP as the initials?
Right?
Yeah, crazy stuff. But like Chris Evans, when that was the whole thing about like which is your favorite Chris in Marvel, it was like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, and now if Chris Pine were to include himself into the MCU, I wouldn't be surprised right now.
A lot of Chris's.
Yes, indeed, it's crazy. All right. Anyway, terrible. I know it's terrible. I have dad humor, even though I'm not a father yet. Hopefully one day, and then I can have excuses of why I have bad humor. But it's been an amazing convo so far. You've talked about a couple of things, so I want to deep dive into your choir experience, Mel, if we can. How many years were you in choir, and what made you first have interest in singing?
So, I mean, my whole college career I was in choir, so I guess started when I was like 17-ish, so like 2011, all the way up until like 2018. So about 7 years. And why singing? Honestly, it was a requirement. So I was a music major, and my thing is piano. So I was a pianist before I became a singer. So studying piano, you have to study the theory. You have to, do ear training. You have to be part of a choir so that you can at least hold a tune, be in key. So that's what it was. Just a requirement that I had to be part of that. And through the years, like I kept enrolling into those classes because I just loved it. I love the fusion of harmonies with all the different types of voices. Like I said, I'm an alto, so I usually hold the lower harmony while the sopranos get the melody. So, but that really trained my ear to learn how to hold a harmony, not be in unison with the melody. And I feel like that's something a lot of people do tend to struggle with. And so I'm really grateful for that experience and for that training. And then we got to like do all kinds of like, I wouldn't call them shows, performances like all over. Like we went down to La Jolla, San Diego. We went up to San Luis Obispo. So like it gave me a lot of that experience too, kind of just traveling and performing. Even if it was like to all these like religious texts, it was still really fun because, you experience like different like cathedrals and churches that it was amazing. So
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That is kind of my choir experience, except for I started in church. My
Okay.
mom was always involved in her choir at church, so I was involved in children's choir, then teen choir, then adult choir. But at the same time, in school, I got introduced to singing in front of people because of High School Musical, and
Oh,
so they said that I should try to join choir in middle school, and so I did that for my last year in eighth grade. And I had such a good time. I did actually a High School Musical performance. You could find it on YouTube, and I did bet on it. And I was getting into this lower range that I have currently that you can hear in my voice. So it was eighth grade. Everything changes. Puberty hits, and like you can't hit the same notes that you were when you were back when you like you easily could hit any tenor note. I was now in baritone bass, and I had to go bass for the whole performance. So I dropped it an entire octave. And to this day, I'm just like, you could have done something, just change the key or something. But I loved it regardless. I had a great time with it. And then I had such a good time in choir that year that I decided to do it all throughout high school, had some show choir experience as well. And then I got involved in actual musicals on stage because my vocal instructor was like, you should really try out. And I'm like, it's Sweeney Todd. It's going to scare me. It's a horror musical. I'm never going to do that. And he's like, no, try it out. You're going to love it. And he was so right. It was the camaraderie behind the scenes. It was the jokes that were going on while we were on stage or when we were performing, like all kinds of fun stuff that no one talks about because, you're thinking about the main performance. But like the behind the scenes stuff, I'll never forget. And I always miss that. I'm like, man, I wish I was in a musical every single day. Like it just had so much fun behind it.
it's kind of like a band, right? I mean, and theater is I feel like theater taps into a different part of your voice because you're one, it's like very, very like
Dramatic.
all over, yeah, very dramatic type of singing, and then on top of that, you have to be acting. It's like theater, that's like intimidating to me.
Well,
You're standing there with a book. Or
Hey,
theaters.
Your like charisma and everything that you guys have as a band is very very entertaining and thematic and like theatrical. So you can utilize that and say that you're pretty good at acting. I'm excited to see when you guys blow up a little bit more that you're gonna have like a smoke machine and like like lightning strikes when you have the guitar start. I'm so excited.
Always thought of those kind of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of DIY stuff that we have in the works right now.
Mhm.
So
Awesome.
There will be stuff like that.
Do you guys have a place called Medieval Times over in California?
Yeah, it's right by Knott's Berry Farm.
But yeah, Disneyland and all
Or
that.
Disneyland?
Yeah, Anaheim.
Oh, it is over there. Okay. Do you know how like they come up with like a storyline and one of them is like I think it's a witch and like they make the whole place dark even though it's just the main sand pit that you always see, but like they make it dark and they have like flashing lights. It just gives you that feel for the sorcery. Yeah.
Right.
They're immersed.
Yes. I would love to see you guys do that. Like something like with like a sparkler or something like that. That'd be cool.
That would
Yeah.
be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All we have right now is like the intro. Like we have our intro that we all like we're backstage and the intro comes on, the lights are off, and then we come onto stage. It's like this like Gregorian chant thing going. And then we have like our like little LED candles. So like that's as theatrical as we get right now. We want to do more.
Well, we're working on stuff. We built these like stage riser boxes, and I've thought about going and putting a light inside it with a fog machine inside it.
Nice.
And then putting holes through it, and then so when the fog comes through, it shoots beams of light, and have it pressure plated. So
Yeah. It's
Dude.
all about what's apart from the other local
yeah,
bands,
just
so.
try to be as different as you can. That's like our kind of our go-to,
Yeah.
because you will stand out from the rest of the local scene.
Pure genius. I love it. Also, let's talk about you, Greg. I want to know your history, how long you've been playing guitar, and what is like one of the most important bands that got you into your instrument.
So I started, I feel like I kind of started kind of late. I started around 16. I did a little bit of playing at like 13, but it was nothing serious. It was around 16. My best friend went and lived with me for the last few years of high school, and he was like a prodigy. He was able to learn like Bullet for My Valentine solos in a day and stuff. And yeah, so he went and taught me everything I knew in the beginning, where we were getting at the end of senior year from there, we were learning, we were playing back-to-back solos of like Avenged Sevenfold and stuff. So it was definitely Avenged Sevenfold is what really pushed me to my far limits as far as I could go, and then from there I moved on to more of like progressive metal and more instrumental bands after that. So, but yeah, definitely Avenged Sevenfold is really what did it, and which I think for a lot of people who play guitar, Avenged Sevenfold is very inspiring.
They have some of the best instrumentation when it comes to the drumming of the Rev. You have Sinister Gates as the guitarist. Like everything about the band was taking what Metallica did and complementing that sound and then adding to it, making it more extravagant. And as we were talking about theatrics before, like think of A Little Piece of Heaven. Like that is the ultimate Avenged Sevenfold like remix of modern metal and heavy metal. Like it just works so well.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned Metallica too. That's I think for a lot of people, especially now that Stranger Things really helped boost that back up. Metallica is going to be again a revival of inspiration for this younger generation. So, and that was an inspiration for myself was Metallica, tons of Metallica.
That's why I'm hoping that you guys in the future will do a reverse Stranger Things experience where instead of Eddie's song having people find the artist, they'll have your cover or your inspired song based on Stranger Things that blows up and goes viral.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
The Demogorgon. Just think about it.
Definitely.
I love it though. So guitar work, I've never been a guitarist whatsoever, but I've always been inspired by people that can play it. Like my favorite is Eric Johnson. I still love Cliffs of Dover. I think that's one of the most impressive melodic pieces of music.
Great.
And then of course Dragon Force, anything that they've touched. But there's a guitarist in a band called Theocracy. He also is the main vocalist, Matt Smith. And his like guitar tuning and the way that he plays, he makes it look easy. And I hate it because it's like it's not easy. But when he's playing it, it's like so simple to him. He can take a Metallica riff and then he can just add his Theocracy touch to it, and it sounds so good, dude. Like you were talking about ears for like playing piano and getting your choir harmonies down. Like Matt like seems like one of the prodigies that you were just talking about with learning Bullet for My Valentine in a Day. And he's got his band and he's been like the main source of all of their amazing musical talent. Like it's insane, man. If you've ever heard of Theocracy, I would definitely recommend him. What is one of your favorite movies of all time? This is a completely off subject thing because I like to get people in their uncomfortable zone. Like, oh my gosh, he threw an easy one at me.
That has to be a film. Not a...
Yes, it's a film. One of.
Mine has to be a Gladiator. I love
Gladiator. Nice. Okay.
Gladiator. Yeah, I would say I was really big into Star Wars. So I would say I've always liked episode 3 or episode 3 or maybe episode 6, I would think, of Star Wars, or like Lord of the Rings. I'm really into Lord of the Rings.
Nice. I have all 3 of those in front and the side of me, but Star Wars I can say is right above me, right here.
Oh, okay.
Got the whole 6 movies that I only care about. And my favorite movie's right here, Baby Driver. And then you were talking about Lord of the Rings is right here. Like literally just watched it last year and I don't know where I put it, but it's here. It's with The Hobbit, I think. Yeah, I put The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings together. I don't know. Either way, that's a fantastic choice for both of you guys because, you know, it's mainstream, but it's also awesome. I've never seen Gladiator, actually. I forget who the main actor is. I keep thinking, is it Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe, and then Joaquin Phoenix is also in it. Yeah, I love his performance.
Oh my gosh, I have to see this movie. That's like perfect acting right there. Joaquin is amazing.
Russell Crowe is the protagonist, Joaquin Phoenix the antagonist. It's
very good. And you will notice because it's the same composer, there's like a lot of like hints of like Indiana Jones.
Zimmer. Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer, which I love Hans Zimmer. So any movie that has his score on it, like, oh, I love it.
So you're a big Christopher Nolan fan then.
Christopher Nolan? That name rings a bell. Is that a composer?
He's the creator of the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception. Hans Zimmer helps out with all the soundtracks to those. Tenet. Yeah.
I love it.
He's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Like, he does keep it simple, and then he makes it so epic. So, nothing too complex.
But his best work, in my opinion, and I know this is probably the most easy take of all time. It's not a hot take whatsoever. The Lion King.
Did he do The Lion King?
He did The Lion King. Now, Elton did the like musical parts, like, you know, singing parts, but Hans did the incredibly sad sound that you hear when like Mufasa dies, and like all of the composition is all Hans. Right.
Yeah, the tearjerker moments, that makes complete sense. Those Hans Zimmer. Listen to like Pirates of the Caribbean. You didn't do Titanic. That was James Horner. Yeah. Anything. I love.
You definitely love your movies and you love your composers. That is amazing. Greg, do you love John Williams?
Yes, big John Williams fan. Yeah. I just thought he did a really good job with the whole Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, I think is one of the most iconic songs from
Duel of the
uh,
Fates.
the Duel of Fates. Yeah. Yeah, my son, well, he doesn't really anymore, but I used to put those on. Oh, he would beg for them. I put them on.
Just the soundtrack.
Just the soundtracks. Listen to them all.
Yeah. You also did Harry Potter, right? You did the Harry Potter films.
Right. I think he did do that.
Yeah,
Harry
John
Potter.
Williams did, yeah.
All that chromatic.
You could hear it. Yeah, you could hear the signatures they add.
There's a few songs in Chamber of Secrets. My fiance was watching that, and I was like, wait a second, that sounds straight out of Star Wars.
Borrowed ideas.
Yeah.
Like, changed a few keys. He's like, no one will notice.
Their position, you'll definitely hear it.
Yes. So good. But yeah, my favorite composer is John Williams. I'm actually going to connect this to some interesting things that have come across in my life. So you just decided that one of your favorite vocalists to study from, besides Pat Benatar, was Dee Snider. You were talking about him, I believe, before the interview. And that's one of the best choices because Dee Snider was literally at the hotel I worked at, my first hotel ever. He would stay with us almost all the time. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Super epic dude. Yeah, in the middle of the suburbs in Illinois. Twisted Sister, just checking in, like he always had his favorite room. He would stay there and he usually didn't come out often, but I never had a full-on conversation with him. But I did have a conversation with a guy who just so happens to be best friends and would always hang out with Hans Zimmer.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? Is he a composer himself?
He was part of a band called Love, Sex, and Death. I don't think that they're still around. They started in the 90s. Nobody knows them. And he said that like they were so big that like he would meet all these people back in the 90s, and Hans was just like starting up his career with The Lion King, so they ended up in like the same place at the same time, and so then they became friends. So Hans is like texting him while he's talking to me, and he's like, yeah, he's like wondering if I can hang out this weekend. I'm like, dude, what?
Wow.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Connections like crazy, especially in hospitality.
That's really
yeah. Speaking of crazy connections and everything like that, how did you guys end up meeting Jason Vilches?
So me and Jason, we kind of go back a little bit long. 8 years. So I actually met Jason through a mutual friend. He's actually the drummer in our band now. His name's Joe.
Nice.
So Joe I knew from college. We kind of like had the same music theory classes together, and we kind of hit it off because we like the same type of bands. So Joe, I reached out to Joe because we needed a drummer for that other band we were in. And Joe said, well, I'll do drums for you if you can do keyboards for my band, Death Told a Secret. And that Jason was the guitarist / backup singer for that band. So that's how we were actually in a band together at one point. And that was in 2016. So, and it was like a symphonic metal band. And that was my thing at the time. So we had so much fun. We unfortunately, we never did any live performances. But we had a lot of fun just kind of collaborating and writing there in his garage out in Colton. So that's how I met Jason. Jason actually, in that new album, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. There's a song on there called Goodbye.
Yeah,
and
my favorite.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So it actually had a different melody on top of it back when it was in the other band. So he changed the vocals and the melody on that when it became his song because he wrote it. It's his. But he asked me if he could use my piano parts for it. And so the piano that you hear on there, he gave credit to me for writing because I wrote all of that. I wrote the solo. So, and the last show that we did with Jason, he actually asked me to go up on stage and do the keyboards for him.
Ooh.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, at one point we were in a band together. We didn't do too much with it, but we definitely wrote a lot of music. We recorded all the music, and sadly it never saw the light of day.
Yeah.
But
his production really good too. Like I really like the production of that album, that EP, right?
Yeah,
right.
Forsaken. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Taken, right?
And our drummer Joe, he programmed all the drums on that album. So we have that. Joe is pretty much our connection, our mutual friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Inland Empire always supplies the best friends. I swear to God, you guys are amazing.
It's like, we all know each other from something. We've all been in a band with one person or another at some time in the last 10 years.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
then years later, you're like, hey, I'm still doing this music thing. And then what happens? You both end up on the same tour list to help out Breaking Serenity on Self-Inflicted 2.0. Like, that's insane.
It just goes to show too, like, how much, you know, how nice these musicians are up here, and that, you know, that we can easily make connections, because we didn't really have that in our other band like 7 or 8 years ago. But I don't know, I feel like the scene's a lot more friendlier now. And the thing is that it's so versatile. Like, not one band sounds like another. Like, there's different subgenres everywhere. And that's what's really cool, is that we're all still supporting each other because we're still heavier music. So,
and there's like no competition. It seems like no ego boost of any sort. So everyone's really just kind of like supporting. Doesn't matter what genre of you are, what subgenre of metal you are.
Right.
We will support. We all get along. I don't think we.
But I think we all like each other because we're all metal fans. You know, like it doesn't matter what. I mean, not that we don't like non-metal fans, but you know, we like each other.
Screw those country people.
But no, like, we like each other even more because we're all metal fans. You know, so
right.
Yeah, and like I'm so glad Jason has that all released now, because he has such a beautiful voice. I've always really loved his voice. Good. And he's such a talented guitar player. We're all parents now, you know, so like he has his child, we have our child, yet we're still somehow, you know, still meeting and like doing stuff together, because he actually asked me earlier today to do keyboards for him at that Stages show with Breaking Serenity, the Self-Inflicted Fest. So apparently I'll be a featured guest again.
Cool.
As long as you're prepared, right? I was like, did you just like go up there and create the harmonies that you heard in your head?
Like, I had rehearsed the night before. That was like the rehearsal time I had, because we were rehearsing with Sörcery. So it is a lot to cram in, but I'm happy to do it. It just, I get to be on stage with another artist. Like, what more can you ask for? So it is work.
Love it.
But it's fun.
So let me try to connect more dots. This is what I always do while we talk about things. My brain is like constantly like that guy in Always Sunny, just putting pins everywhere, right? And so this is how it goes. You originally were talking about how Hans Zimmer has simplicity and that it's so effective. But then you were also talking about how Jason changed the like chorus or style of Goodbye that really works well. But it's also na 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 na, which is very simple but effective. And, you know, that kind of composition is amazing. But then I also thought about this while I was listening to you guys. I was thinking Duel of the Fates, having this like super emotional sound to it was cool. But then I thought about the other song that John Williams added to Star Wars. Sounds a little bit like Hans Zimmer's Lion King song that does play at the death of Mufasa. So pretty crazy how many things are connecting right now for me.
No, for real. Like, at the root of it, like, music is like, when it comes down to it, like commercial music at least, it is all based off of the same chords, right? So if you really think about like metal or pop or even countries, you know, especially like the country pop that's going on right now, it's like when you really listen to the chords, like it is a lot of the same formula. But the thing is, like, it's a formula that works, and like it taps into like, you know, part of the soul that just latches on. It's just how you can be creative on top of that same formula.
Yeah.
You know.
So when it comes to your vocal work, you've done harmonies with yourself. I noticed that on a few tracks, and I loved it. But I also noticed that you don't use too much like reverberation to your voice. You're usually having it as pretty much raw. It amplifies it a little bit because the guitar and drums are so well produced and they're so loud that yours is just a little bit amplified. But then there's sometimes where you're harmonizing, and I always wonder, do you come up with the harmony on the spot, or did the harmony come first and then you were like, let's add the melody to this? How does it usually work for your voice?
Usually it's melody first. That's honestly how I write music, is I come up with the melody first, like before the chords, before, you know, I even have ideas for riffs on guitar or keyboards or whatever. It's usually the melody, and it has, like, for me, it has to be a catchy melody. Like, I like music that's fun. I don't like music that's too thought out, because it kind of loses me. ADD or something, but I do enjoy a catchy tune. So it's always melody, and then as we're recording, I'll start coming up with the harmonies kind of on the spot. Sometimes it takes a while to kind of mull over, like, okay, like that didn't sound good, or like that didn't blend in with the chord behind it as well. So like, what can I do? And then a lot of times I end up leaving those parts just as the melody line with no harmonies. And a lot of times that is effective on its own. It's really only in the choruses or in the pre-choruses that harmonies get thrown in there. Only if they enhance the chorus. If I feel like they're changing the vibe of the song, or if they're just distracting from the melody, then I'll just leave the melody on its own. But yeah, to answer your question, it's mostly melody first.
Sweet.
Yeah.
There were parts where I was getting harmonies in my head and I had to sing one of them out loud. I don't know if it was like an outro. It just had a lot of missing vocals. And I was like, oh, but if they did this, like that's
Right.
where my mind instantly went in. I was like, it's so
Uh-huh.
good, so good. And the guitar work. Okay, Greg, let's talk about like the riffage that you guys come up with. It's simple, but it's also awesome. Like it's epic. There's some songs that have that epic intro where you're like, okay, the vocals aren't coming in right away because the guitar needs to shine right here, and it does shine. How do you usually come up with your riff, and how do you decide on the bridge? Bridges are like the most fascinating thing for me in music.
Right. So coming up with riffs, I usually some of them usually I've been holding on to for almost years, and I just save them on my phone. So I'd be home, and I'd go and I just start making a riff, and then on a loop pedal, and then layer it with maybe a guitar lead involved or whatever ambience we're looking for at the time. And then I just try to implement it, like okay, we got this song, but it's missing this, and I'll go through my whole list of everything and just see which one works, how do I change the key, what can we do to make this work, and sometimes we got to switch things around. Eve of May, for example, that one had a lot of switching around going on. It wasn't exactly how it sounded on the official song, on the official recording, so that one got switched around. And for bridges, bridges, I would say you want to keep somewhat of the familiarity of the song, but also come up with something catchy at the same time, but not too catchy to shine away from the chorus. And I'm thinking of the bridge for Valor Morgulis, which goes, if you're familiar with that one, it's this catchy line, because that song doesn't have too much going on. It's one chord the whole time for the most part until it gets to the bridge.
Yeah.
That's the one that dun, 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 and I'll do that a few times into a dive bomb. And I would say just kind of keep it somewhat in the realm of familiarity without losing it. Same thing with Eve of May. Bridge. You're doing more of the chugs. Instead of the do 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 do, going dun 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 dun. You know, kind of keep it more heavier. Build up, build up. That's your goal. Build up.
I love it. Absolutely love that you are explaining it with a little bit of vocals. I was like, does he sing? He sings. He has to sing.
I definitely do not sing.
You do
Not
sing.
good.
You're
Trying to
singing
get
right now.
And I butcher it so bad every time.
You're making noise and it sounded musical, therefore you sing.
I was thinking about maybe I should just grab a guitar it'd probably be better than my voice.
But going back to your inspiration and how you were talking about how you went from a transition of like Avenged Sevenfold to more instrumental style, did you listen to Galactic Empire, the Star Wars cover?
Oh yeah, I know about
Yeah.
Yeah, like Galactic Empire. Yeah, they're like a metal instrumental, and they do all the covers of like John Williams songs.
That's really cool.
And yeah, very cool. And they dress up like all the characters too. Yeah, I'll show you later.
And it's approved by John Williams himself. Like he said, yeah, you can use this. I give you my rights.
Cool. Yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, they're really cool. I listen to a lot of like there's an artist named Pliny, which he's very and almost like an ambient sounding band, but like he'll keep like the lead guitar with like jazz influence mixed with metal.
Hell yeah.
Very shreddy, but very catchy. There's another guy named Nick Johnston. He's from Canada, and it's very like, I guess you could hear some of it from like, he'll do a lot of like harmonic minor stuff, and it's more blues rock style.
Oh,
But he
cool.
implements jazz involved, and he is insanely shreddy too. That guy shreds like crazy, and it's a lot of catchy stuff. And intervals and animals as leaders. That's the route I went, was going that prog. Polyphia. Yeah, I've seen Polyphia when they would only have 50 people in the crowd, and I was able to hang out with them in the parking lot before their show.
But they're a good example of being an instrumental band that's catchy. Like I remember at that show, there was people singing the guitar lines instead of singing the guitar lines. And that's like what makes a band good, is when it doesn't matter if it's vocals, guitars, whatever, as long as it's catchy.
As long as it's catchy, and that's something that Nick Johnston mentioned. If you ever get a chance to listen to him, really good. And he says it in an interview. He's like, you want to come up with something catchy. You want to come up with something that can kind of almost be played on any instrument too. You want people to sing it. You want people to be able to play it on violin, on piano, on guitar, whatever it is. And that's because now you're bringing everyone together. You're not just singling out, instrumental music. You only think that belongs for guitarists, drummers, bassists, and that's it. And when no, you can get other people involved. Look at Polyphia. I'm sure you can find plenty of covers of other instruments playing their stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
And also incorporate other instruments. I think they have a song, the one with Steve Vai, and I think at the end they have a trumpet player. In intervals, they do a lot of things with a saxophone player.
Ego Death.
So ego, yeah, that's right.
So cool. I love the song with Sophia Black. The first time I heard it, I was like, whoa, pop with
ABC.
Polyphia. Genius idea.
That's that ABC one? Or
Yeah, they're like the ABCDEFG.
Yeah.
Like crazy guitar lines on that song, and it's just super catchy.
Yeah. I used to listen to them back when, I think I started listening to them on their second EP. And yeah, I remember just being hooked and learning. Like again, my best friend lived with me, and around senior year in high school, and we would learn that whole EP and try our best at least. And fortunately, we got to hang out with Polyphia back when they were just a opening band, and they were always a big inspiration too, in evolving the guitar skill.
Love it. What do you think about Swancore?
Swancore, what would that be?
So Dance Gavin Dance technically called themselves Swancore.
Swancore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went and saw them when they did Swan Fest out. I think that was in Anaheim.
What are the odds it's called Swan Fest?
It's Swan. Is that like a defining, like a subgenre?
It's the guitarist's last name, I believe.
Oh.
I think. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any songs really about a swan.
Yeah.
I think it's the guitarist's last name. But yeah, they're really cool. Their guitar work is very, very interesting, very catchy. Tillion's voice, really cool. And that's another prime example of someone finding his voice. You listen to him when he first started with Dance Gavin Dance.
Yep.
It was very clean, more clean singing. And this, I haven't listened to him lately, but I know, which one was it? I forget what album. But later on, I think it might have been the second to last album he's released. Very, very more raspy, more push in his voice.
Yes.
So that's someone that's always still finding his voice.
It's so true. And like he got kicked out of the band recently. I don't know if you heard about the controversy and everything like that, but they found out that he had some demons that he was still fighting, and they said, okay, we got to cut you loose. And so now they have, I think that one of their original guys wanted to come back or something like that, and I hated their original guy. Like, I could not stand their first sound. Like, everyone was like, Dance Gavin Dance, one of the best things ever. Listen to the first album, I was like, this is torture. Please make it stop. Like, either the vocalist can't sing or the screamer can't scream, or they're both just terrible. I don't know what's going on.
I was never for the first singer there.
Yeah. He just doesn't have that, like, it's not sweet. It's the thing about Tillion's voice is that it was always sweet. Like, you would listen to it and you're like, wow, how does it do that? It sounds like he's underwater. He's got the Post Malone kind of thing that he can do. But he also had, like, that I'm in half of my throat sound. I always found that fascinating. And there's plenty of vocalists that are able to do it. Like, I think Dayseeker's guy right now is, like, really well known for being a incredible vocalist. But, like, when you talk about guitar parts of Dance Gavin Dance and, like, Swancore in general, like, the way that they influence, they use jazz influence on their sound. That's, like, the coolest thing for me is, like, they're genty, but they're jazzy at the same time.
Right, exactly. And they have a lot of those cool, like, clean parts, which are really riffy. I remember listening, what was it? Sheesh, I can't even remember the album name, actually. But, I used to learn a few of their songs, too. That was another kind of inspiration moving on up. What's the guitarist's name? I can't even remember.
I only know the screamer is John Mess.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah. Very good guitar work. I like their guitar work, definitely.
Yeah, but you were talking about Tillion's raspier voice. I think you were thinking of the song "Prisoner." It's like
maybe
prisoner. But he like yells it, and like he's just so good at it.
Yeah, he really opens up. He really gets that push going. Definitely.
Totally.
It's almost like putting like a little overdrive on his voice.
Have you ever heard of the band Dayshell?
Yes, Dayshell. That has the singer from Of Mice and Men.
Yes, sir. Shaley is in that incredible. Well, he created it. It's his project. Did you hear the song, the album from last year, Pegasus?
No, I only know like one or two songs from him, and I was amazed. It just took me back. Really good stuff.
Yeah, Second and Sebring. You can hear it all over him.
Second is that's the one. I love that song too. Yeah,
incredible stuff.
Yeah.
You're a metalcore guy. I love it. We're going to talk metalcore. Don't worry. So, Mel, big question. Besides the vocalists you've already mentioned, who do you consider your favorite band of all time?
Oh, God. Favorite band of all time. It's kind of they don't inspire me directly, but my favorite band of all time probably has to be AFI.
Oh, good choice.
Nightwish, but like I'm not like in love with all of Nightwish's stuff like I am with AFI. So yeah.
I know 2 songs from AFI. Obviously the one that everyone else knows, and someone covered a song and I was like, oh, that's good, and then I heard the original and I was like, that's good. I don't know the names of them. That's how much I know, but that's an amazing choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess in a way the singer's name is Davey Havoc. I've seen him like 10 times, but his agility and his range, I guess, did kind of inspire me to kind of break out of my head voice shell.
Yeah.
Which I guess I never really thought about before. So yeah, I guess they did kind of inspire me in a way, even though they're alternative rock. They're not at all metal, but they've been with me like through 2/3 of my life, so it has to be AFI.
Love it. Also, you said Inspire the Liars, another Tillion track with the raspier voice. Fun facts. Just keep flowing. So wait, you were saying AFI, you've seen them 10 times. Did you meet them yet?
I mean, I ran into Davey Havoc like on the street one time.
What?
But yeah, I was at a Chelsea Wolf show. He was hanging out, and I just ran into him exiting the building, and I got a picture, and I think I bowed to him. And then I ran away. I was very starstruck.
He still does that.
but I've seen them a lot more than I've met them. So.
Love it. Did you ever do VIP, Greg, for any concert?
VIP? No. No, I'm too broke to do that.
Did you ever have a band come out and actually meet you that you were like really excited to see, and then they just happened to come out to like their merch, and then you were able to talk with them?
Yeah, definitely. The Polyphia was one of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk to Elven King. I don't know if you know that band.
I do not.
Folk metal band from Italy. They came to LA.
Yeah, we just recently were able to talk. They came out and we got to talk to them for a little bit. I always like to try to bring up stuff that's kind of like not music orientated,
Yep.
because I'm sure they hear that all the time. So I was literally talking to him about welding. He had this cool mic stand, and it was all like perfect, like welded in, and I was just seeing how he did that and everything, and he's saying that they welded it and they made it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's
to
cool.
gigs lately, like the Entrance gig, the Alvin King gig. We've been to like 4 gigs in the last year.
Yeah.
We always bring like a little like package of Sörcery merch, and we hand it off to the artist. So you did that with the singer of Alvin King.
Yeah,
and then we did that with the singer of Entrance. We kind of just hand like a sticker, a shirt, a pin.
Something, something like just remember us. Like,
remember us.
if you ever need anyone, like we're here to like if you're last minute or you want someone, we're here. And so I always give them something so they could just have something to remember.
We're also working it. We go to see the band and then we're working it for our own band.
But
it's genius. It's a good idea. I've seen people put their stickers all over the place. They're like, hey, you remember us? We were here, so.
USB drive and just throw it in with it. Just I'll get a little USB drive, throw it in, hand it off. Like, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to our stuff when you get a chance, or maybe throw a music video inside that USB.
Or a QR code to our like Spotify.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, we'll do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of back to what you were saying, we also used to go to. Have you ever heard of NAMM?
Yes.
Yes. So they do. What is it? Summer NAMM here, and we haven't gone in a bit, but we used to go quite often. Yeah, we would run into quite a few bands,
right.
Interval.
And they're just there. They're there because it's like a vending. Right, it's music vending, and so you'll see artists just mingling in with the common people.
Yeah.
And so you get to kind of walk amongst them and strike up conversation because they're very humble. Obviously.
Yeah, Michelangelo
was there.
Mm-hmm.
Pliny was there.
The Ninja Turtle.
Bossy. He was there.
Said Michelangelo. I was like the Ninja Turtle.
He to play guitar with he has
hands.
double neck and he plays like this.
It's from the 80s.
And he just keeps shredding like this all through it.
With 3 fingers? We're going to keep going into the Ninja Turtles. I'm sorry. It's the first thing that comes up every time. Mikey.
But yeah, that's really cool, being able to go to that and really like being able to strike conversation. Kind of see where people's heads are too, where they are in the music and I got to like again that guy Nick Johnston. I got to talk to him. Pliny got to talk to them. Kind of like, how do you guys go and work around and make certain things? What goes on in your head in certain situations? So those are really cool opportunities. So if anyone has the opportunity to go to NAMM, it'll be something you would remember for a long time.
Yeah.
This is the new Warped Tour. Everyone go to NAMM.
That's right. Yeah, we did hang out with Foreigner.
Yeah. They were asking us when we were going to have a kid. I don't think we had during it, right?
We were like boyfriend, girlfriend, and the guy asked us, like, when are you getting married?
Oh, that's
and
what
we
it
were
was,
like, awkward.
Yeah.
Wait, Foreigner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a guitarist and a bassist.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're just talking with them.
Yeah.
They're so epic. Okay, so Cold as Ice, obviously everyone knows that. Jukebox Hero, big hit as well. But there was one more song that I would always play. We had like the greatest hits, like it was called Foreigner Records. And I would just play it nonstop. I think Jukebox Hero was the one. But I mean, like there's so many songs that are just unbelievably well made.
Yes. Oh yeah. They have so many hits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my parents' wedding song was Waiting for a Girl Like You. One of them. Yeah. Crazy.
A lot of in that movie, oh my gosh, the musical with Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, Rock of Ages.
Yeah. They have a lot of Foreigner songs in that one. That's why I know a lot of them, honestly.
It instantly came to mind when I said Waiting for a Girl Like You, or you were like, Tom Cruise.
That's right. Maybe the connection.
That's the effect that it does to you. Music is an amazing power. Like, I don't know what it has on our brains, but as soon as that right side or left side, whatever part of the brain, it just instantly grabs on and it holds you for life. Like, it's so hard for me to get away from music, but when I do, I'm always like, I miss you. I'm going back again. Like, there's times where you're like, okay, I'm gonna listen to something else today, and then you're like, nah, I need the music again.
Yeah.
And it kind of sets the tone for the day. You know, it's a coping mechanism, whether you're happy or you're sad or you're angry. It's like you could tap into so much with music.
Right.
It's cathartic.
Yes. Yes. I love it. All right. So my next question for you guys, since we were talking about the new EP that's coming out, we already said the release date. You guys can go and see it. I think, did you guys say it in here? But if you didn't, go to the Patreon and go check it out. If any of you guys are enjoying this conversation, there's a little extra conversation in the beginning that I love to have with all my guests. And these people are one of the best. I literally love all the humble people that come on and they're like so shy. It's so nice because there's some people that have super egos. They jump on and they're like, I got this. But it's the quiet ones. I'm like, I'm gonna get you talking. But yeah, so I was gonna say, like, what is one of your biggest like songs that you're looking forward to releasing, and do you have a big single for this new EP that's gonna be dropping soon?
Do we have a single?
Not a single, but I do have a personal song that I'm really excited for. I don't know if you do. We have a song called Ten of Swords, and it's very kind of almost Iron Maiden inspired.
Nice.
Very lead liney harmonies, kind of epic. There's 4 solos in that song.
Woo!
Go back to back to back to back into goes 4 solos into like a build up, harmony back into the chorus to end it all off. And that one's kind of my favorite. It's very catchy. I think that one's gonna be a good one. I don't know what yours might be. It's kind of a variety going on with all these songs.
Yeah, there's a variety for sure. I would say Morgana. It's more of like a. I wrote that one, so naturally it's very mid-tempo. I tend to, my happy place is mid-tempo songs, so that one's more mid-tempo, more of the set. I wouldn't say the setback, the laid back of the album. But it's.
I don't even call it laid back. It's kind of heavy.
It's heavy. It's so my inspiration for that, I actually wrote the riff on guitar. That was Amon Amarth. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yep.
They're like a Swedish Viking metal.
Unbelievable. Dark, heavy, amazing music.
So the riff was very inspired by that, and on top of that, it's obviously my, Pat Benatar vocals, and then the chorus is kind of chanty, and you said it's kind of like a march.
Yeah, very marchy, going to war.
Mid-tempo march, very Nordic sounding. So, and of course, it's called Morgana because it's based off of Morgan Le Fay, who was like the witch in the life or the death of Arthur, King Arthur. So,
and what's cool about that song too is the intro of that one is the same line from the very last song on our first EP. So there's a clean, the clean song. I don't know if you got to listen to that song.
Yes,
there's like a very clean song through the rest, and that lead line that's playing, I think in the beginning, right?
And at the end.
And at the end is also played on this one, but with distortion, drop tuned, kind of what it was originally supposed to be. We actually changed it to
Eris Quod Sum?
Eris Quod Sum, yeah. So
okay.
that one, I had, like what we were saying before is like, I have this list of songs that I'm just like trying to fit in, and I got to alter them. Well, the altered one is Eris Quod Sum. Morgana is actually its original version.
Oh,
of that.
Okay.
So it's a little different.
It's like a recurring motif. It's like it's a motif that we had on the first album, and it's tying the 2 albums or EPs together.
And if you ever get a chance to listen to that guy Pliny, that's where I got the idea from. He does that with 2 EPs. He keeps the same line hidden through middles of the songs and beginnings of songs, and it's just like this catchy little piece, and it's like it ties in a story almost.
Love it.
And so that's kind of what I wanted to do. Is he inspired me to kind of do that. It's like let's just add this again. It's like a little hidden track. Let's put it into this track.
A little Easter egg.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's probably we have played it once or twice live already.
Yeah.
And people have actually reacted really, enthusiastically to that one.
Yeah.
So that's promising.
Love it.
Good
Um, a-
banger.
any power ballads?
On this one, no.
We actually
No.
have more of a thrash going
Right.
on.
Oh, going
We-
heavier. Okay.
EP's all over the place, so
It-
it is
Name
lacking.
the genre of each song.
It's lacking a power ballad. That's something we'll definitely work on maybe for the next effort. But
Yeah.
this one has a glam metal song. It has a thrash metal song. It has that more Amon Amarth Nordic type marching song. It's
Got
got
Iron Maiden.
that Iron Maiden song, and then it's got like this Visigoth one.
Yeah, like a Visigoth.
Another new wave of traditional heavy metal type. So
Yeah.
it's all over the place. I know I'm missing a couple, but
Love
Love
it.
no
Love it.
power
Love it. What do you guys consider yourselves genre-wise?
new wave of traditional heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traditional new wave heavy metal. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sets us apart from the more, progressive periphery type, because
Yeah.
there's obviously bands that are doing that, very modern type stuff. I guess new wave of traditional heavy metal is more of a throwback to the 80s.
Yeah, it's kind of a genre that's kind of slowly growing. There's a few little documentaries on YouTube about this genre. And yeah, it's like Entranced is one of them, Skullfist, Visigoth. These are really great bands that have really just kept this alive. And it's just slowly growing, and it's just like giving the respect to the 80s and just
Yep.
saying like kind of like it's still alive today. It's just that good that we could just keep it going. People can still connect to it even with modern music out. It's like just bringing it back, not so much 80s, but giving it a new taste.
And
It's a
I think-
revival.
I think our little modern sound that we add in is definitely the shreddy guitars, because not all traditional heavy metal was very as shreddy as like him and our other guitarists are. They're so shreddy. I would say that's more the modern touch, right? And that's what kind of that's what sets us apart from 80s metal, is that you guys definitely are more talented and more skilled than, like Def Leppard.
Yep.
Def
That's true.
Leppard, they're a little limited in their soloing. You guys definitely go all out there with your solos, and we are traditional in the sense that we keep it simple, we keep it catchy, melodic where it needs to be, and then these guys come in with their solos, all guns blazing,
And add our taste to
and
it.
you got 4 guitar solos in one song, and
Yeah.
that's kind of our touch, is that keep it traditional but also shreddy.
Yeah, the technicality that has changed over the modern age. Like everybody is trying to outdo the other person, so they're always like, "Oh, polyphia, that's easy work. Watch this." Like like finger pricking, not finger. What is it called? Finger style. Like
Oh, yeah.
the way that there's a guy called Alip Bata over in like Indonesia. This dude just like plays the guitar like he's playing his literal soul, like just easily. And then there's like a kid like 9 years old doing the same thing. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
making it impossible to make anyone like ever think that they finished. Like, we did it. We successfully created the best guitar work. And it's like, no, keep going. This 9-year-old's way ahead of you.
Exactly. There's a lot of competition with the internet. Yeah.
True.
But I think that's why people are so skilled now too, is because they have platforms like YouTube
Oh, yeah.
or like the tabs and everything that you can find online. It's so the information and the
Bandwidth of
it's all so accessible now that if you want to become very skilled at your instrument, it's pretty much all there. I guess it's just the dedication and how much you're motivated to really commit to it.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, as much as I can hate on modern technology, AI, and things like that, I do appreciate when I see new bands that I haven't seen before with like really great guitar work or vocals, and I keep seeing it on Instagram, the exposure that they get just by having the algorithm say, "Oh, you like that? Well, here's another song that sounds like that," and it's just like, oh, so cool that we have this where we can be like, well, I've always loved this band. There's no one that ever sounded like them. And it's like, well, have you heard this? And it's like, oh my God, this sounds amazing.
Definitely really cool stuff.
My favorite band is Red. I've always loved them. They are like one of my favorite sounds of what I consider modern alternative metal. They've mixed Korn with Breaking Benjamin, Linkin Park, and an orchestra. So, I mean, you can't get much better than all of that together. And yeah, they're so good. Not many people know about them. They're Christian in some ways. So a lot of people say, oh, they're like Skillet. No, they're way better than Skillet. And no disrespect.
Like symphonic new metal?
Yeah, they are symphonic new metal if you want to go with that exact title, because like they use a 6-piece orchestra on each album. It's amazing.
I'll check them out. I never heard of Red.
Yeah. Check out the song. Okay, if anyone's listening that is an absolute legend and stayed for the whole conversation, check out the song. They're probably okay. So the first song ever you need to check out from their first album is Let Go. It's just like a mix of everything that Red is, but also Hide. Both of those have incredible orchestration. My personal favorite right now has been Buried Beneath. I absolutely love it. It's catchy as heck and it's super Breaking Benjamin. Also, Ben actually helped them like start their career, so it makes sense that they have that kind of connection. Do you know Starset?
You?
No, I don't know.
You don't know Starset? Okay, they're getting heavy, so it's probably the best time to get into them, Greg. They're probably going to go metalcore in the future, but they had the same producer as Red and the same style on their first 2 albums or so.
Cool.
Yes, very cool. And they also did a song with Breaking Benjamin, so that's an amazing collab.
Realm. Sounds
Yeah.
like very cool.
Never ending connections. Oh, speaking of connections, speaking of just incredible artists overall, how did you guys end up covering Wasp?
So I've been listening to Wasp forever. My dad was like an 80s metalhead, so I had all his vinyl and cassettes, like super easy access before YouTube was a thing. But you were familiar with like I Want to Be Somebody, right?
Yeah.
But I think I showed you Wild Child off of The Last Command.
Yeah.
He decided out of nowhere, he's like, I want to cover that song for the album.
Yeah. I think I can fit. I was
Yeah.
like, you can make it fit. You know, she does
Make
the
it dark,
keys.
put our thing on it. Yeah.
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 Because I don't know what we were originally gonna. There was something else
I
in
don't
mind.
think maybe like Angel Witch. I don't know.
I can't remember.
I'm so happy with Wasp though.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy with how that turned out, just because like it's like you could obviously hear that it's Wasp, right? Especially with the guitar riff there, like it's very Wasp. But I feel like we put our own spin on it enough to make it like ours.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was a good choice.
Yeah.
It's also the best produced. Like as soon as the song starts up, it's like, holy shit, this is like super professional sounding.
Only I did that with the rest of it. I'm definitely trying to use that song as a template almost of the producing of like for this next EP. So I keep going back to that one and seeing like where levels were and kind of how things were running. Try to bring that back to this next EP. So hopefully there's more uniform with every with all the rest of the songs. Cohesiveness, yeah, that
Valley of the Shadow, he did all the mixing, the mastering, the production, and for your first time doing it, like I'd say it came out very well. And it's not perfect by any means, but yeah, I think he did
everything.
A good job.
Yeah, the writing of the drums was me, right? The bass, guitar.
He programmed all the drums. He played the bass.
It was just like really just like at work, headphones on, watching YouTube videos, how to do this, how to do that, how to do this, all day.
Cubase, right? Cubase.
Cubase,
and then the drums was Get Good Drums.
Get Good Drums, yeah. From Periphery, Periphery, Molly Get Good. And the Misha Mansour's too. So
it was like a huge learning curve for him, and so I give him all respect because I didn't have to do that.
Yeah. It was a lot.
But yeah, hopefully the second time around, like he's wanting me to be more involved with like the feedback and the work in the production and everything, which I have no knowledge on, but we do our best. It's so easy now because like everything's there at your fingertips, and all you got to do is look on YouTube and just kind of see how to do it somewhat correctly. Because imagine like back like even 10 or 20 years ago, this was all very hard to do yourself. You definitely had to have a few thousand in the bank to go to someone professional to do that. So I mean, we're by no means professional, yet we could come up with something that's half decent. Yeah,
if you ever look at the band Anvil, they they have a documentary, and they talk about how they got that producer down in the UK, right? And he was like $20,000.
Right. Yeah, breaking arm and a leg to record anything back in those days.
It's like, no, I'm good with whatever I have.
Yeah, teach yourself. It pays off the best. I mean, because you're only going to get better. Even if it's just a little bit better, it's always going to be some kind of improvement. There's no way that you can decrease your skill set if you keep learning things. That's why it pays off in the long run. People are so hard on themselves in the beginning. Like my friend still does not know how to do keyboard drum sets. Like he cannot figure out how it's going to work for his song. He just adds the drum the way that it is. And I'm like, it's just going to be in time, man. Just don't push it so much. Just worry about the rest of the song. It's going to be fine.
And we're on worst critics. I mean, and I guess it's just our natural way of looking, where's room for improvement. So, I mean, if we weren't our own worst critics, we'd kind of just be stagnant.
Never progress.
We never progress.
Right.
No. You'd be like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. There's nothing better than me. And then you put out Saint Anger, and then you're like, I made a mistake.
I'm sure that costed thousands.
Yeah.
It's not like now, if I don't like how the drums sound, I don't need to change anything. I just go and just switch the drums right there. I don't need to re-record anything, even with the guitar. Yeah. I think both albums, this EP and the last one, The Valley of the Shadows, I didn't use any real amp.
It's a simulator.
They're all amp simulation. I just played my guitar through my computer and used simulated amps, and I was able to just, if I don't like it, because like back in the day, Dawkins, Steve Vai, who else were we saying? Foreigner. You record it with that amp, you're kind of setting yourself in stone there, unless you want to re-record the whole album all over again.
Which people do.
Yeah.
They do go and re-release albums.
And that's a lot of work, though.
Yeah.
That's another thousands and thousands you're losing. And now, with the touch of technology, you can just reamp. I don't want that amp. I want to switch to this one without changing any of my recordings.
You ever seen the first mixer?
No.
Oh my God. It is a tremendous thing. It takes up an entire wall, and there were knobs and switches. And that's like all that they would do. They would be like, okay, when I switch this knob, what do you hear? And they're like, that sounds okay. And they're like, okay, when I switch this knob, what do you hear? So like it took them probably like 4 days to make one song. Like just the beginning of the song, at least. Like it was insanity. And the way that we have made it into something that you can literally hold in your hand is
right.
It would kill the person that made the first mixer. They'd be like, you did what? Yeah. How did you do that?
Of a button, right? It's like we take these conveniences for granted sometimes, I feel, because we don't realize how it took a few days to go and program something that we can just click with a mouse now,
The mouse alone still fascinates me, how they could have come up. Like the computer, I understand. Like obviously it's all coding and everything. But having a cursor that has control over what's been coded, it's like, how did they do that? Like, that is wild to me. It sits in its own standard. Like, my mouse is literally on free mode right now. Like, I can move it. And you would think that it would, like, immediately, like, stick to one page or a program. And sometimes on my other laptop it does. But, like, it's so fascinating to me, like, how much we've improved the computer. We've improved processors. We've improved amplifiers. We've improved instruments. Like, everything has just been so, like, advanced. And like you said, yeah, it is expensive, but it's so worth it to like save a dime to like learn it yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. And everything's so digital now. Everything's digital. So even your life setup is digital, right? I mean, how digital is us?
Yeah. Right.
Just holograms. But yeah, all digital.
All digital, yeah. Right.
Digital smoke in the future.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not a health hazard. We were actually noticing that the last show we played with Where It Lies and Jason Vilches, because we're all on the same bill, and I think Anthony from Where It Lies, he brought up how every single musician had a digital setup. Well, besides the drums, besides vocals, all the guitarists and bassists were running through head rushes, like line 6, Helix, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you don't really see you don't see a cabinet in a head anymore, right?
No,
You're still running through
well,
a
yeah,
cab-
you
you're
can still run through
Yeah.
that, but it's not like analog pedals where you're clicking on your overdrive, your
Right.
delay, you're clicking you're like tap dancing all over
It's
the place.
all in one
It's all digital.
place. Yeah.
Click it for the next song. You can change anything right then and there,
Mm-hmm.
and the conveniency for playing live is great.
Right.
I've really enjoyed it since I've stopped using it.
Yeah, and I don't think it compromises the quality or the sound too much.
No way. I think it sounds
holds
nice.
up. Yeah.
And you got consistency.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, what does the sound guy do if you guys have all the control?
You got a few different things. You could either get mic'd up like the traditional way on your cab, or you could go from your digital pedal board and go straight into the mixing board.
Oh.
And so you can go and control your sound and your levels, but you could always still override them and just like volume boost yourself if you're not hearing yourself too well.
Yeah.
But it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about why is this pedal. If one pedal's not working, it can kill. It's like Christmas lights. One goes out, the rest of the strands out, and that's the same thing with a pedal board. If you have like 10 pedals and one goes out, something's not working right, and you're like 3 minutes about to start, you're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? So digital's the way to go.
Do you still get feedback and like static or anything like that, or is it just mostly like mute? You don't have to worry about that. It just goes straight into whatever the track is supposed to sound like a preset.
Yeah, it's just a preset. I have it set up so you could either have it set up for each individual song, that you could have complete different rigs for each song. So you could just click of a button, switch an entire different rig, the pedals, amps, and everything to the next song. If you wanted, I keep it simple, same rig, clean rig, and just switch back and forth from those, and no issues.
Let's just think about in the future, right? The next 10 years or so, because everything is going to be digitized, everything is going to be advanced. What happens when the whole band isn't there and it's just the vocalist basically doing karaoke to everything that's already been pre-mixed? They're just standing there singing.
You go to a concert and it's just the music coming through the speaker.
It's gonna be the Gorillas, just without any members.
Or like I said, like a hologram, where it's like you're watching the band and it's all three-dimensional and everything, but the band's not really there.
Yeah, right.
And they'll still make money from it. They'll figure out a way.
A ton of money off
Tickets
of
will be $200 still. Yeah.
Yeah, if more.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. The Gorillas is a good representation of that modern culture because, they don't have, there are cartoons of their style. Like, that's what they are known for, is the cartoon, but that's not the real people, of course. It's based on whatever they had in their mind, but the instruments themselves, the instrumentalists themselves, they are totally different than their cartoon counterpart.
Right. Definitely.
So cool. I didn't even think about like what they would look like live. I'm seeing Hollywood Undead this weekend, and this will be the first time I've ever seen them, and it's gonna hurt my soul when I see them without masks. Because they're gonna be like, "You guys lost who you were, man. You were Hollywood Undead. Now you're just a bunch of 40-year-olds."
It's like Kiss when they ditched the makeup. It's like.
Oh yeah, Kiss without makeup. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Slipknot did it too,
Did they really?
Masks. Yeah.
They have?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe they've done. What is it? They were introducing it when they did that one song on what is that one music video where they have no masks on, and they were like introducing not doing masks.
I don't know, because they had the mask on for Unsainted. Maybe it was something more recent. Because Corey got a new mask just a couple of years back, and everyone went like bonkers for it. They're like, oh my gosh, look at this new mask. Like, they either hated it or loved it. And I was just like, I'm so glad he's wearing it. And then MGK is like, why would a grown man wear a mask? It's like, shut up, MGK. Stay in your lane.
Stupid MGK.
Stupid MGK. Yes, exactly. Before we go, is there anything that you would like to ask me, or would you like to tell your fans, besides the incredible EP that's coming out? What are they supposed to be hyped for right now?
We have merch. If you want to come check us out, you could go and hit us up on Instagram. What's Instagram?
Sörcery Official Band. some variation on that.
Sörcery Band official, Sörcery official band. You'll find it. We got merch if you want it. We have a show at Stages in Santa Ana.
And then so we have a show in a couple weeks at the Doll Hut in Anaheim.
Doll Hut.
So they're by Disneyland, by the Angel Stadium. There are pre-sale tickets for that on our link on our Instagram. And then there's also a link to our Stages show with Breaking Serenity, Where It Lies, Jason Vilches. You need to buy a ticket to get to that show. And that's in Santa Ana, also in the Orange County area. We're really excited for both of those.
Yeah.
Because we're so sick of playing in the high desert. We've been a band for a year and a half, and majority of our shows have been up here. So we're excited to get out to the more LA, Orange County area by the beach. So that'll be yeah. I just looked at our Instagram. It's sorceryband.official. So and then all our music's up on every streaming platform, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music.
And the next album will be out in September, or the EP will be out in September. And I think our next live shows are just going to be mostly the new stuff. So it's going to be a new change and more shreddy, a lot more. This really pushed us. So it's going to be a lot more shreddy, a lot more technical, and a lot, I think, bigger. I think it's a good word, real big.
Maturing as a group.
Yeah.
Or mostly us. I mean, we do have a couple songs from the other members on there, but.
And then, yeah.
I do have a question for you. What was your favorite tune off of Valley of the Shadow?
So I'm gonna be like complete boring person and say Wild Child.
Got a cover.
Because everybody loves it, but I liked Mercy the first time I heard it a lot. Valar, like I said, it had most of the vocals were just so many words at one time. I was like, I would love this, but I really don't know how I would be able to sing along with it. And then Eve of May, like my favorite of your vocals, just because it has that higher range to it, and it's simple, but it's strong and it's powerful and it grows as it goes on, and then you go right into your final track and it's perfect.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say Wild Child though. I was like.
You'll never get away from being known as the Wasp cover band. But if that's your start, that's not a bad thing at all. Because I mean, I'm also seeing I Prevail. So this is the whole lineup for Sunday. Hollywood Undead with Fit for a King are the openers. Hailstorm and I Prevail are the main act.
Nice.
So it's going to be like so many great artists at once. But yeah, so I was saying that I Prevail, they only got popular. I mean, they were already great alone and like other songs like that, but they only got really popular because of their cover of Blank Space by Taylor Swift. Like that's what really blew them up into the mainstream.
Wow.
So it could be worse. We could have a Taylor Swift cover that we're known for. Good.
If you wanted to actually, I'm not gonna joke with you here because I don't like Taylor Swift either. But there is a song that is a rock song that needs to be rocked up, and it would work really well with your range. It's called Haunted. Check it out.
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Taylor Swift, but I'll check it out, and then we'll also throw in a No Doubt cover.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, the No Doubt cover needs to happen. Don't Speak. The metalized version with Mel's vocals. Unbelievable. So excited. All right. Either way, it was great meeting both of you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank all of you guys for watching. Remember to go and check out the links in the description right down below. As they mentioned before, their Instagram, their merch, all of that is important. Please follow them. Give them all the support that they can possibly get, and try to show up if you're in the Inland Empire to go to the Self-Inflicted Fest or the other show that's in where? Which is that one in a couple of weeks?
At the Doll Hut in Anaheim.
Doll Hut in Anaheim. So if you're a Mighty Ducks fan and you miss the Mighty Ducks and you want to go and see something that reminds you of the Mighty Ducks that's epic, awesome, and in your face, you got to go see Sörcery. That's what I'm saying. I'm not the one who makes the rules here. This is just the truth. You got to go see Sörcery if you live in that area. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate both of you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And I thank all of you guys for watching. Have a great night and stay safe out there. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the Media Man Dan podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, have an awesome day, and stay safe out there. Peace.